Right, hello again. Hello back. Hello, hello. We continue building out our rather large map, and we're still connecting towns. And at some point in the future, when the towns are done, I shall get on with doing industries. So just click on with it. So again, if you have not been watching or you're just randomly chipping in, the aim is to connect everything that produces stuff, hotels included, of course. We have 1,500 odd towns and 5,000 odd industries, but that includes a lot of secondary industries that do not produce per se. And yeah, it's obviously going to be a very long game. So if you're interested in watching, tagging along the experience, and okay, I'm not going to send that one term there. So otherwise, we're playing FIRS 5.2. And every so often I tend to introduce the new GIFs, but basically it's just two CC trains and the, the vehicles that are the more relevant ones. Yeah, okay, we just want to make sure that vehicles can reverse. That's a depot for these guys. In fact, I'm just going to clone this because why not? So 1, 2. And I said earlier, I've made a few changes to the actual code of the game. Nothing too crazy. One is I can press button S on the keyboard and things get going. And yeah, have a limit of 65,000 vehicles per type rather than the default 5 or 10K because we'll need it. That was basically a prerequisite to the game. Otherwise, it's like, I think game settings defaulted to 10K originally. I just checked the code. Like if it's stuck on 10K, then we'll run out of definitely road vehicles, but probably a whole bunch of other things as well. By the way, in the unlikely case that I mentioned this in the previous episode, that I want to get back to playing ET, as in the game from, well, the original Transport Tycoon. I don't presume anyone has a version history for that, which is a really obscure question, but I played with it off screen a little, and I'm convinced that there were some features in the game that I remember not being there. And I'm now thinking maybe the version I played may have been like a 1.00 sort of thing, whereas the one on my abandonware is 1.06 or something. Which also reminds me that I have on my other computer a copy of TT film. Hell only knows where. I should have a look at the version of that. Yeah, I'll do that afterwards. I'm not going to get around to playing that game until my other map finishes, which is, well, probably another month or two. So You may know that there's another map I'm playing, which is like a water world, islands only. I mean, islands and boats only, no ships only per se. Slightly different challenge. So why not? For the laurels. Also, if you guys have any thoughts and stuff you'd like to see in the place that randomly, just in case I casually forgot anything ungrouped. So that's actually pretty full, but medium, medium, medium. Okay, these are generally medium. So there's an automatic replacement um, in each of the groups if you haven't been watching. So the logic is that if I was to put this medium size into large, it would actually get replaced automatically. So like this being 79% full, I'm just going to bump it into medium, and at some point, the next time it's in deeper, really, it gets replaced. Like this is 80%, so probably bump that to large. You're just casually losing me money. What is it? July. Okay, there's something here, like this, 7%, and it had last year performance. It needs to go into small. Even these. I could probably just get more of these because they're kind of busy, but the reason is cargo distributions on for people. And as I said before, I actually, for some unexplicable reason, don't bother with mail. My definition for a connected town is that the number of people leaving the town per month is higher than zero. Like mail is always just problematic. And in the unlikely case that I was ever to turn on mail, well, mail is on, but if I was ever to bother with mail, I would probably off Cargoodist for that. Because it's just, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a bit of a golem thing. It's my game, my own, my precious. Okay, that covers the town and the hotel. Hacks. What is that? That's a farm. Yeah, nope. I only kind of wanted to finish this. Great. Also, what is less great is that this is just plain stupid. That's fine. One thing I was looking at if there's any plugin for OBS that overlays the keyboard presses so that you would know what I'm doing. To quote my Australian friend, to make it a little more educational, she said. What are you doing out here? The one plugin that appears to be capable of this takes up a lot of the screen space, and it doesn't appear to be doing a particularly great job. In other words, it's fugly. If you don't know what fugly is, look it up. Okay, that was highly illogical. Spock disapproves. Less bad. Again, we're not playing for money per se, as long as we stay afloat. It's fine. One thing that would be interesting, I said this before, but I'm not cut out for that. This is still stupid. Is to do a just come here. To do a smaller map and try to work out cargo distribution properly. Like, not to have Nangel is always a pain in the ass, but not to have these 12,000 people sitting around sort of things. I cannot. So one thing I already did was yeah, like that's already down to 0.7. And nope. Okay, that is not going to fly though. Come on, off you go. Off you go, little buddy. So if I ever finish doing people, it sounded worse than intended, but you know what I'm talking about. I will then get on with scrapyards into steel mills. I was showing on a previous occasion, actually a bunch of previous occasions, that map gen was more than a little flawed. I'm not going to come further down because this is going to be the spot for the next train line. Because we're desperately missing stuff like steel mills from visible part of the map. And I think there's some, excuse the word, but there's some fuckery going on with map generation, because if you're watching the boats game, it's suffering from a similar problem. I'm just going to make this large because there are like hotels and more hotels and towns and more hotels. Just expect it to be a little busier. We kind of continue back that way. These will be another time. I mean, there's no rule against establishing stuff like steel mills. While I don't like the expression, it is going to be one of those bridges that we cross when we get there. Yeah. Mm. That's no road, you idiot. We don't need roads where we're going. Okay, so I have not done this. I just need to triple check, like, I still don't remember stuff. Okay, you go down like that. Be one of those. Just come into gold. Okay, well, I mean, that's kind of missing out. I do not see a hotel here, so it's me a headache. Don't know if this is going to be used much or not, but could offer it as a possibility. Don't think we need 4, but how's ticking up? I mean, we have 3.25 billion, so I'm not paranoid of running out of money. That was a fail. Hmm. I think that bridge goes up to 112k, which is still faster than what these can do. I said this in the previous episode. I now have some analytics on the channel, so I know that statistically most of you are from the US, which is to say you're likely to be more familiar with imperial, not so much with metric, but I also think that for our purposes, speed is just a number. Yeah, suspension still. I mean, 112k is give or take 65 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure I wanted that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, go. And then separately loop around. I also would kind of like to get thoughts on cargo distribution? Like, does it make it more interesting? Does it not matter? Again, like on a challenge basis, what would be interesting is to have industrial items cargo distributed. But it only works, so CD only works if, okay, that's a little too slow. CD only works if things are physically connected. Like if I only connect these two towns, people will never want to go here because it's kind of an unknown unknown. I'm making sense. You can turn it on there. I should put down a station. That would be beneficial. I'm kind of thinking this is fine. Fine. Okay, I want this. Yeah, just do that. I'm doing these small things on purpose so that vehicles can reverse. Basically, otherwise they can't. I did I? Hey, it's the new millennium. It's not the button I wanted. Okay, okay. Happy new millennium. I am curious. So I think this becomes an implied station. No. Okay, fine. Thought it did. It would. Because with trains it does. There's a floating 6. It was on the screen. Okay. So this is kind of covered. I do want to include these, and I'm not going to go farther down. I do want to make a better bridge here. Anyway, as I was saying, if people have ideas for challenges, preferably ones that don't take 200 hours, which would just mean a small amount, really. I am all ears. Like, I really don't think I will do another 2K by 2K map. And that's to say, initially, I almost did a 4 by 4K. Started it, never got recorded. basically double. Like it's obviously not really 4 times this many of things. Like you didn't have 4,000 towns and 20,000 industries because yeah, it's a visual bug there. But it's a very significantly bigger map. Oh, there you are. Is Hatchet Man the same thing as the X Gang? That's a movie reference. It's actually a very good one. X Gang my ass. Kung Fu Hustle. About 20-year-old movie at this point. If you haven't seen it, it's outstanding, hilarious stuff. The X Gang my ass is again, if you haven't seen it, there's as you can guess, an X Gang who terrorize a lot of neighborhoods, and they get into trouble with someone who's I now don't remember in a different gang or something something, and the landlady of one of the compounds is this very stereotypical, walks around in flip-flops, cigarettes sticking out her mouth, and just really doesn't take shit. Like, and the X Gang is very notorious, and everyone's total paranoid of them. And they show up, and there's landlady, and um, whichever gang member is like, "Come on, you don't recognize us? We're the X Gang," and they actually have axes. Um, and there's like a large number of people, so they're pretty, scary, so to say. And the lady just gets her flip flops off and smacks the guy. I was like, "Scary my ass." Or with the X Gang, slap. X Gang my ass. Something something. Slap. Something my ass. Like, mm, yeah, so I kind of want to hold this line. In which case, yeah, we go up here. Oh, I should watch that movie again. And that can turn around it. I mean, even this is pointless because, well, ish. Pointless-ish. Mm, I'm brainless-ish. and you can go back-ish. Okay, I don't really think I like this setup. I shall have a second look at getting the keyboard on screen for the recordings because I think it would be beneficial. Okay, let's come down here. Well, F it. Because I have transparency on, I'm having a little trouble identifying some of these bridges, and I just don't want to end up with wooden bridges and concrete bridges because they are just very speed restricted. So while we shall never need a tubular bridge for trams, or in fact cantilever, I rather have them and not need it than need it and not have it. Which is also a movie reference. Predator. I don't know when they went off to the Arctic to get totally shafted. Okay, so we can deal with this. Yeah, just do this lot. Lots of hotels. Marv. I know there's one. Like that's cantilever. You can see that. Sometimes it's not obvious. And I am playing on transparency because I do find the screen to get very busy. Too busy for my liking. I'll do bigger ones. I mean, again, with cargo, this is actually all over the place. Like people will just want to go elsewhere. And these humans, they have needs. Shut up. I think we've established earlier on that a kumquat is either an Australian thing or a South American thing, and that it's either a plant or an animal. Which totally identifies it. You're lost. Ah, going back to this place. Stack up south. Like any station basically just means they've given up. There's what actually stops here? think it's actually these guys that are giving me headache. So, how are we doing? How are you doing? Medium. Or is it May? Large. Okay, let's have a look at what's going on. I'll bump that. Even it's, I usually bump at 80, but 78, large. Yeah, these guys need servicing, i.e. conversion. Why are you all here? I want to know. Okay, this stuff is definitely getting bumped down. No, it's new. Ah, oh, small. I usually bump on the 20, but I'll be merciful. Not that mattered. There's a new. Okay, let's do it this way. A lot of you. Wow. And well, I can't bump it any further up, so there are no uber big. So, oh, this turns up at 8. So again, people, but we'll change it. Go away. Not that anyone was asking, but these are the new geos I'm playing with. Town names, stations, doesn't matter. I don't think we have any upgrades, and we shouldn't be upgrading. One thing I do care about is this parameters. Yeah, so defaults to low, but I have it on medium. We don't care about any of this. Fine. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to check anyway. It's the problem with this guy is that it cannot actually be refitted. So, nope. I don't want to go away at this point. But what I do want is trains are losing a lot of money, mind you. Like all the passenger trains are basically losing money. Well, not all, but well, okay. I'm lying. Hey, templates. Lol. Yeah, there are some funny restrictions in the old DT game. As I was saying, I actually played a bit with it and then totally effed up the recording. Which is why you can't see it. Like, you can only do 5 long, and that's it. I think there's going to be a Transrapid 9. There's, yeah, there's more. Okay. 1K per hour. Just send for servicing. It's going to cost me an arm and a leg. New vehicles. Yeah. 7 mil, 5 mil, almost 100 mil. Right. Do a few more of these. Why is the hotel out there? Like, who in their right mind puts a hotel in the middle of a cornfield? Meh. Yeah, it's fine. Don't care. Pet food time. You can't hear this, but the other feeder is just gone off. You are stuck. Yeah, that won't help. Just shut up. Okay, someone. Remind me why you're all stupid? That's clearly a problem with my. So you want to go get a. Why are you here? I don't, hold on. So you want to get here. I'm going to pause the game and figure this out. Okay, I have not figured it out. The only thing that happened was that I kind of undid all this. But why are you trying to go that way? Go away. No idea. Absolutely no clue. And my guess is that yes. There's no signals here. Well, brilliant. Okay, and one thing I could do is make these a little faster now. I'm not really going to go through all my chain lines doing this because it's crazy. Everyone's going crazy. Going to kind of do these. There will be much better bridges in about a year or two. I don't quite remember when. Yeah, like those. Up to like actually better bridges, but I don't think I'll bother. The actual penalty is not that bad. I'm just kind of playing it around. Okay. Don't think I care about this bridge. Everyone's turning off here. Oh no. Yeah, no, 112. They're not going to be any faster anyway. So we have 10 minutes odd. Better get back to where we were, which was someplace here. Yeah, kind of one thing at a time, sort of. Although that is the end of the proverbial line. Do. Yeah, why not? There you go. Close enough. I am thinking, apart from needing to put down stations, station. Still think these are more stops than stations, but so be it. Yeah. Oh well. It's going to be a long ride. 8 minutes. I can squeeze this whole thing into 8 minutes. I think that will cover both. Fine. And we still have 6 minutes. Which we don't really, because I never do an hour, but can squeeze these too. Just do that. Alrighty. Well, that's kind of going to be the end of this one. Thanks for watching, as always. And any comments, queries, interactions, please let me know. And I shall see you next time. Bye bye.